Welcome to our tour of St Mary's Church in Stone. So whether you're getting married in the church, a historian with a local interest, or someone who's just never been inside this church before and would like to know more, we hope that this tour is for you. As you come through the carved front gate with its lions and roses, created by Jeff Yarrington, the path leads you through the churchyard to the iconic red front door. The gate inscription reads, St Mary's of Stone. A warm welcome awaits you within. You'll notice the step is rather uneven. It has been worn down by many feet for nearly 200 years. Welcome to St Mary's Stone. We pass through the entrance where nearly 200 years of visitors have trod. There has been Christian worship on this ground for over 750 years. To the left, north, the roll of honour of those from the area who served in the First World War, some of whom paid the ultimate price. To the right, south, the stairwell to the gallery and to the bell tower above. The seating capacity in the main church building or nave is circa 100, with pews on each side. These pews were once boxed in and much higher, but they were cut down and oak panels were affixed to the sides in the restoration of 1900. At the front, east, we have the communion table, and to the side we have a small PA system. The red poles that you could see on each side support the gallery and the organ above. Here is the orientation of St Mary's Stone. The front of the church faces to the east. The back of the church then is to the west. The left side of the church is to the north. The right side of the church is to the south. Here is St Mary's Stone bookcase. This beautiful carved bookcase houses the church's books. There is an unusual feature. A mirror on the right-hand side allows you to see the carving on the other end. The inscription reads, Made for the glory of God during the ministry of Canon David L. Smith by Jeff Yarrington and presented by Mary Yarrington, August 1983. In St Mary's Stone there is a leaflet about each of the carved items on the front of this bookcase and is available upon request. The booklet is called Stone Church, Carved Bookcase, 1983. St Mary's Stone Welcome Desk. Our welcome desk is where our friendly team meet and greet our visitors, give them the latest parish newsletter and the books they will need for the service. The stone font on pillars and pedestal has a memorial to the late Mrs. Danks, the last survivor of the family of Joseph and Sarah Martin of Stone. This font is still in use today for christening services. If you look at the lid, it is designed by Robert Pancheri. The lily motif carved on the font lid represents the Virgin Mary to whom Stone Church is dedicated. Robert Pancheri also carved the two large oak candlesticks in the chancel. There are several heraldic crests in St Mary's Stone. These crests can be found to the north and south of the church and have the coats of arms for those people associated with the rebuilding of St Mary's Stone in 1831. On the front of the gallery there are also the royal arms. These coats of arms include the Reverend John Peel, the family of Swinfen, his wife's family, Folliot Cornwall, Bishop of Worcester, Arms of the Sea, and Lord Lyndhurst, who was the Lord Chancellor at the time. There is a memorial window to the racing driver Peter Collins. The window depicts the reigning Christ. The checkered flag at the top symbolises Peter Collins's short but very successful career. The inscription reads, "In memory of Peter John Collins, 1931 to 1958. God gave him courage and a cheerful heart." His grave can be found in the churchyard outside by going out through the church door, turning right and following the path to the lane. The memorial on the north wall to the Gibbons family is a beautifully carved example which commemorates 4 generations of the Gibbons family, from Benjamin Gibbons, who died in 1863, to his great-grandson Eric Gibbons, who died in 1974. Benjamin Gibbons was a local industrialist whose wife, rather unusually in the early 1800s, took over his business when he died. His tomb can be found outside to the right of the front door of the church. Here is another example of a stained glass memorial on the north wall. It is a collection of medieval glass and fragments of early Flemish glass which were retrieved from the previous church building and put together in 1937 to create this memorial for the Howard family of Stone House. The inscription reads, "To the glory of God and in thankful remembrance of our parents, Henry and Alice Gertrude Howard of Stone House in this parish, 1848 to 1934 and 1849 to 1936. The lectern in St Mary's Stone is dedicated to the memory of Huberta Phillips. The inscription reads, "In thanksgiving for the life and work of Huberta Phillips, 1901 to 1957, Principal of Shenstone Training College, 1950 to 1957. During services, Bible readings are read from this lectern." To the left of the lectern is a seat and prayer bench for the clergy officiating at the service. Behind this, on the decorative wooden panel, is the inscription, "To the glory of God and in loving memory of Frances Mary Creese." Frances Mary was a generous benefactor to St Mary's Stone. These antique brass memorials were discovered during the restoration work. They commemorate Will Spencer from 1656 and his wife Virtuta, 1663. Another brass, further over, has an inscription, "To the glory of God and in loving memory of John Edwin Russell Oldnall Elliot, RN, who died 14th November 1891, aged 24. This chancel was enlarged by his mother, Frances Mary Creese. The east window was placed here by his brother, Henry Cairns Oldnall, and his sister, Helena Frances Perrone, AD 1900. St Wulstan was the last Saxon bishop of Worcester, 1062 to 1095. He was a trusted advisor to William the Conqueror. He features prominently in this window designed by Francis Skeat and is dedicated to the memory of Eleanor Tanis Chambers, who sadly died at the young age of 36. At the front of the church, facing east, there is the communion table, which is often covered for much of the year by a series of different frontal cloths. When not covered, you can see the beautifully carved panels with gold gilded crest in the centre of each one. Here is the front view of the chancel in St Mary's Stone. The chancel or area on the other side of the rail at the front or east part of the church has beautifully ornate carved panels behind the communion table and a vast 3-part stained glassed window. The famous Bromsgrove Guild were involved in the carving of the reredos. You can also see Robert Pancheri's work in the beautifully crafted oak candle stands on each side of the communion table. For nearly 2 centuries, New brides and grooms have stood at the front of the church to make their wedding vows to each other before God and their congregation. When looking up, you can see this elaborate stained glass window. Set in place when the church was rebuilt in 1831, this vast east window depicts Christ Jesus meeting with his disciples on the shores of Galilee after his resurrection. The banner that you can see at the front of the church commemorates the 900th anniversary of Worcester Cathedral, and this banner was created by the Sunday school children of St Mary's Stone in 1996 to take to the special service. The bishop was so impressed that he requested they take it home to display in their church. If you look very closely at the top right and left-hand corners, you will see 6 tiny little silver bells. Also at the front is the communion rail, sometimes known as an altar rail, and it divides the nave from the chancel. This rail was given to St Mary's Stone by Harry Christopher Bickmore, the son of the late Reverend Bickmore, in memory of his mother Gertrude and his wife Mary Kathleen. Now, as we move to the right of the church, there is a seating area for the clergy and their servers. The inscription reads, "Given by Margaret Ryland Cattle in loving memory of her father and mother, Wallace Ryland Williams, 1878 to 1960, and Ethel Frances Rebecca Williams, 1879 to 1941. Reverend Bickmore's family gave this oak pulpit to the church in his memory. The inscription reads, "To the glory of God in memory of William Frederick Bickmore, Vicar, 1875 to 96. St Guthlac's window on the south side shows him taming the wild animals. He was an ascetic and a hermit saint. The quotation at the top of the window is incomplete. What he actually told Wilfrid was that a man who leads his life after God's will have nothing to fear from wild beasts and wild birds, and they will be friends to him. The Peel family memorials can be found on the south wall. There's a touching tribute to Augusta Peel, wife of Reverend John Peel, 1794 to 1861. And then to the side of it, there's a memorial to Augusta's husband, the Reverend John Peel, 1798 to 1875. Also for their eldest son, Robert Augustus Lawrence Peel. Reverend John Peel oversaw the foundations being laid for the present church when the previous one had to be pulled down in 1830. He also financed the building of the steeple. His brother, Robert Peel, founded the first police service in the United Kingdom. The children from Stone Church of England First School designed this memorial window. The school, sited across the road from St Mary's Stone, closed in 2007. The inscription reads, "Christ the Teacher, circa 1884 to 2007. Here are the heraldic crests on the south of the church, which have the coats of arms for those people associated with the rebuilding of St Mary's Stone in 1831. Starting from 1269, this vicar board charts those who have served as vicar to the congregations of St Mary's Stone for over 750 years. It was designed by Robert Pancheri, and the carving at the top is a representation of the previous church prior to demolition in 1830. The organ is situated in the gallery above the west door. It's a favourite with couples getting married, as this organ has a beautiful distinctive tone that fills the building with joyous sound. It is thought that the original organ may have come from Deal in Kent and been built in the 1760s by John Snetzler. In 1900 it was carefully rebuilt in its present form by William J. Bird of Birmingham. Thanks to that, that company, it is the rich tone that the congregation enjoys today. Above the inner west door, the royal coat of arms can be seen on the front of the gallery. The arms were placed in churches and said to be a reminder to those preaching of who was the head of the church. At the time, King Henry VIII had created that role for himself, and he was taking no chances with his clergy. This view encompasses the aisle through the nave to the inner and outer west doors, with the vicar's board, the organ, and the gallery, and the bookcase. It's also the first view that the newly married couple have after they've said their vows and turned to face the congregation. Whilst the journey up this aisle can be one of trepidation, the return trip is a very happy one, with the sound of celebratory organ music filling the air. The information for this tour has come from a variety of sources. Susan Laffey's book, John Roper, Rosemary Beasley and Frank Price, and the Kidderminster Times. Thanks also go to information from Colin and Jackie Emney, Tim Morris, and St Mary's Stone DCC members of 2022 for all their support. More information about St Mary's Stone can be found from a variety of sources. If you would like wedding information, please look at our website under the wedding section or email weddings.parishofke@gmail.com. For information on the history of St Mary's Stone as well as its services, please go to our website kidderminstereast.org.uk and click on St Mary's. For further information or to visit St Mary's Stone outside of services, please contact the parish office on 01562 822 131 or email at office@kidderminstereast.org.uk. Thanks for joining us on our tour of St Mary's Stone.